It's the Score North Twin Show.
Yes, indeed. Boy, Judd was popping off on Royce Unchained about that loss last night. I'm just looking ahead to the playoffs. I don't really care about these individual games anymore. Cleveland doesn't care about the division. They can, at this point, it's about lining up your pitching staff for 2 months from now. So the wins and losses, they're going to come and go like water on the shores, Judd. I don't know.
Yeah, you just keep going with that. You just keep going. You keep going with that.
Guardians lost last night. Magic number drops again. I don't know what you're complaining about.
I don't know. Can you hear this at all, or is my button bar still?
It doesn't sound great. I wouldn't play it.
I'm going to play it even more then. Yeah, we're having this has been a day.
I can't hear anything. I can't hear a thing, Phil. I can't hear that.
You can't hear the button bar? You can't hear the Bally's theme muffled? Through my technical disaster.
This has been a rough
today.
day. This has been a very rough day.
Yeah. Yeah, we need a new IT department here at Score North.
I'm resigning.
Add it to the
immediately.
list.
I'm resigning effective immediately.
So we're going to grind our way through another edition of the Score North Twin Show here. 2 things on the docket here. The Immaculate Grid at the end of the episode. But old Dex Tweet put his scouting hat on yesterday and wandered his way over to St. Paul. And we're going to get from Declan here. Are we calling these Declan's Saints notes?
He kept score. He kept score in his announcer book. This is a nice book. This is a legit announcer book.
Is that Judd's or did you get your own?
No, this is mine. This is
Bobby Carpenter's. Yeah.
Bobby Carpenter broadcaster book. Here, like Phil, I'll just show you a blank one, what it looks like, even for the audience. This thing is no joke, man.
Alignment?
So, when I interned at the Saints, by the way, I spent 2 years interning at the St. Paul Saints. Sean Aronson, who runs the media relations department, recommended I get this one, and I fell in love with it. Now, this is for like basically broadcasting. You can fill this sucker up with so many notes and things, but I'm so used to it now. It's the only thing I ever use. So, yes, it's a very awesome scorebook if you're one of those people that likes that.
So you went out, you scored the game yesterday. Did you score the game yesterday?
I did. Yeah.
He showed us the scorecard. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. My chicken scratch. I don't know if you can see some of this here.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, wow.
That's a lot of offense.
Looks like you got bored there about halfway through the 6th. I'm not sure.
No, the 9th. I left after the 8th. I did leave after the 8th. Yeah, left after the 8th inning. So,
so pretty committed.
Beat the traffic. Can't blame you for that.
Beat the traffic, got home.
Yeah, the parking's kind of a disaster there by CHS Field, but beautiful place to watch a ball game. So you saw Brooks Lee. You talked to some people about Royce Lewis. So let's throw it to Declan for Declan's Twins notes, Saints and Twins notes here.
So I wanted to see Brooks Lee mostly. He got recalled there. He's been off to a slower start going into the game. And then I figured I wouldn't also get Royce Lewis in the lineup because it was a day game after a night game. Both of them were in the lineup on Tuesday night. They played then a Wednesday day game. Lo and behold, Brooks Lee actually ends up still being in the lineup, but he actually goes to third base after mostly playing shortstop for most of his tenure so far in the minor league. So he was at third. Brooks Lee, pretty good at bats, man. Three at bats. He stung the ball really, really well. He drove in a couple runs. He did get thrown out, extending a single trying to get a single into a double, but he got the run home. I was impressed. He had 3 really loud outs. Chip Scoggins was also there. He actually ended up doing a good feature in the Star Tribune that you can check out, kind of talking about how his dad is a big influence on him and all the steps and preparation he takes and how just eager he basically is to get to the major leagues. I mean, I believe he's only the second guy from his draft class, which was, by the way, just a year ago, to get to AAA already. Wow. So, I mean, he's knocking on the door.
Never ever have happened. I feel like and I love Terry Ryan, but you got to under the Terry Ryan regime, we'll draft you the first year. You'll be down in rookie ball, whatever. Then we're going one step at a time. Dominate a level, maybe go a second year at a level. So that is one thing that these guys are willing to do a little bit more of is let's keep shoving a guy up the ladder. What
was Joe Mauer's track? Because he started at Elizabethton, right, the rookie league, and then he went to Quad Cities, Class A.
I think he touched all 3 levels, didn't he?
I want to say, I thought he skipped AAA.
You might be right. And then he got called up. Let's see here. So Joey Mauer. You drink wine coolers, Mauer? Hey, Maua. So he was drafted in 2001. He played the 30 games at rookie ball. And then so he did touch every level. And then he went a full season in 2002 at low A. And then he went a partial season high A into double A in 2003. And he only had the 5 games. There might have been a rehab assignment in 2004, but he had 5 games in AAA in 2004.
It was.
So
yeah,
okay.
I think he tore his meniscus in like one of his first games that season with the Twins, trying to catch a ball on the warning track behind home plate. Yep, that's right.
But he played.
Gotcha.
The rest of 2020, the rest of 2001, all of 2002, all of 2003 in the minors, and then they brought him in 2004. He tore his knee, and then whatever. So he was 21 years old. So they fast tracked him a little bit.
He looks pretty good. He played third. There was a play. He had only a couple putouts. There was a play with the bases loaded that he ran pretty deep into the left field to grab, and he made a nice catch. Don't get me wrong. But probably would have been better served for the left fielder to just go in and take that ball and have a shot at the plate, because the run actually ended up scoring from third pretty easy on the sac fly because his body was turned backwards. But I mean, nice catch. It was a nitpicky thing. But I tried to figure out 2 splits. So he's a switch hitter. And the Twins obviously have had bigger problems against lefties than righties this year. Now against right-handed pitching, and the splits, by the way, are just at Wichita. They don't usually have much of a sample size with the Saints. Suggest, but against right-handed pitching at AA this year, an OPS of near 900. So he rakes right-handed pitching. And yesterday saw the same thing. I mean, even though he had 2 outs, he also hit the ball really hard, stung the ball well. Against left-handed pitching from the right-handed side of the plate, not so great. 715 OPS. Now, that is better than the Twins. I think the Twins have like the worst or one of the worst OPSs in the American League against left-handed pitching. But he looks impressive, man. Like I would be a little shocked if he got up here in September. I would bet they gave him the entire month of August, rightfully so, with St. Paul. Let him get comfortable a little bit more. He got off to a slow start, too, when he got to AA this season as well. But talking to some other people, too, it sounds like he's gotten a lot more comfortable, too. He was kind of swimming in it a little bit, and I think kind of got lost in the bright lights of being in AAA, and the target field's only 10 miles down the road. You were just drafted like 13 months ago, and here you are basically knocking on the door of making the big league roster. But I was impressed, man. I think he's going to be a pretty legitimate ball player.
Yeah, it's I think something would have to he'd have to just be horrid in the month of August, and the Twins would have to have an opening of some kind due to injury for him to play like meaningful at bats and playing time this year. But next year, especially, was it Royce or Doogie? I think it was Royce on the Royce and Chain today said Polanco. So his vesting option was like 500 plate appearances. He's not going to hit that. So Polanco's probably gone. Julian defensively is a long way away from being a guy you put out there every day, right?
So who plays where?
Second base and third base are up for grabs between Royce Lewis and Brooks Lee and kind of Edward Julian, who maybe becomes a DH. You put a glove on him like twice a week or something to give someone an off day.
So do we think that in 2024 at some point, do we think Royce Lewis is playing third? Do we think he's in the outfield and Brooks Lee's at third decks? Like what's your best guess? I also don't. The one thing with Julian that I wonder is, are they going to basically say, dude, you are going to Florida in the winter and you are going to take ground balls every single day? Because like I'm not convinced he can't be turned into a second baseman yet. He looks super rough there. But like, what's your best guess about how this shakes out? Let's say June of 24. So
on the Julian front, I mean, it sounds like even in the minors that glove's a problem. Like even in St. Paul, the glove was an issue, and if Buxton could play center field, you can kind of open up the DH spot. But when Buxton is healthy, I know he's in the IL right now. It kind of makes things a little easier to figure out your infield alignment with the DH. But I asked if Royce Lewis, does he have plans to play second even at this point, or even go back to the outfield? And I was told he's planning to play every other day when he's in St. Paul for this rehab assignment, and only at short, third, and then DH if necessary, obviously, just to get his at-bats in. So I was a little surprised by that. Now, this was also before the Solano diagnosis came in, which, by the way, is an MCL sprain, which wasn't the worst-case scenario. Why don't you just put him on the injured list? Like, if it's a ligament that's sprained, what is the thought process? Why is that that you would not put someone immediately
I think
on
they
the
will.
injured list.
I don't know why they didn't quicker, but I think that they will, because a sprain is a partial tear. So, like, it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So he's a sprained knee, is that right? It sounds worse when you list the actual ligament, but it says he's got a little sprained knee or something.
Got a
Yeah, which
sprained
means
knee.
partially tore it, didn't tear it fully.
But yeah, I mean, the Twins' plan is for Royce Lewis to play third and short, and then that's where I don't think it makes much sense if Brooks Lee does indeed come up here, because then also, where do you also then put Brooks Lee? Like, I don't think they'll put him at second. Like, he's been playing shortstop and third base for the most part with the Saints. It does create this really unique logjam that they have right now.
I think going into next year, it kind of feels like, well, I mean, Correa is one of the best defensive shortstops in the league, so he's under contract, so he's your shortstop.
Yep.
It feels to me like, and they had Royce Lewis ready to rock at third base before the injury. I feel like it's going to be an off season of Brooks Lee get comfortable at second too, because to me, second base is the most. I mean, I guess you could put Royce Lewis at second base too, or maybe these guys just become kind of interchangeable between second and third and figure it out. But it's interesting that you have two young guys that you drafted a guy number 1 overall and another guy in the top 10 at a premium shortstop position, and they're not going to play shortstop for you anytime in the next 4 or 5 years unless Carlos Correa, I guess the way he's been hitting this year, maybe he's not he's not on your team anymore in 3 or 4 years, but like, he's still in his prime. Correa is in his prime. He's 28 years old and he is a shortstop.
Absolutely.
So these are good problems to have, though, because they're all really athletic enough to go and play other positions. Maybe Correa, as he gets into his 30s, moves to third base because he loses range, and one of these other guys plays shortstops. But it's good to have options at premium positions, I guess.
A couple other notes I noticed in the Saints game. So I did watch Austin Martin. Austin Martin played second base, batted 8th. He was in the Jose Berrios trade. And it's kind of been tracking towards a bust. Now, his on-base percentage is good. The guy takes a lot of pitches. He works a count really, really well. And his defense is solid at second. But, I mean, for a guy that was a, top 5 overall pick to be slugging well below 400 in the minor leagues is concerning to me. It's one thing if you have a solid eye, and he definitely does. He can take some pitches. He has a good eye at the plate. But when you have next to no pop, I mean, I'm not going to say that trade was going to be just a bust because they actually ended up selling Berrios when they should have, but I don't think the return is really going to hit what it should be. And I think Austin Martin is probably destined to be maybe just a AAA, quad A type of player.
And both of those guys have underachieved, right? Because, Martin seemed to have really went south when, as Doogie talked about this a lot last year on the Scoops, about how the Twins were trying to get more power and it actually screwed up his swing. And Simeon Woods Richardson, who was another pretty prominent name in that trade, seems like he's scuffled too. So it definitely sounds like that trade didn't get you the 2 prospects that you thought that you were going to get the day of that deal.
I think what's really bizarre is, and Dex, I've never seen Austin Martin in person. So now that you have, maybe you can tell us. He's listed at 6 foot, 185 pounds, which, he's not Daniil Hunter size or anything like that, but he's not super small. 6 feet, 185 pounds, maybe some room to get a little bit bigger. How does he only have 9 career minor league home runs going back to 2021? How does he not have any power at all whatsoever?
I have no idea. And that's maybe his plate approach of likes to work a count and likes to try to get on base as best he can and good on you there. But when you just have that lack of power, to me, sometimes we get obviously distracted and in love with the long ball. And we've seen guys who was the Milwaukee Milkman, Adam Brett Walker, who had slugged 600 in the minors. And oh my God, look at all these home runs and slugging percentage. But when it's a guy who's that athletic and was that well regarded, who is not even putting extra base hits in, I have concerns there. So I think it's probably just going to be most likely a quad A player. Maybe he comes up. Maybe he's good. I even looked at Edward Julian's stats, going it's Edward Julian. Was he a good slugger? Did he actually put the ball everywhere? Yes, he did. He got on base a lot, and he had a really good slugging percentage. So it wasn't even the fact of, all right, does this good eye at the plate transform into more power or more extra base hits? And it seems like with Austin Martin, no, that's not the case.
I will say this, and this is a little bit apples to oranges because Lamont Wade is a left-handed hitter, but they're both about the same size. They're both 6 feet. I'd say Wade's a little bit thicker probably than Austin Martin is. But Lamont Wade was a guy that did not have any power in college or even in the low level. So his 2 years his 3 years at Maryland playing Big Ten college baseball, Lamont Wade had 7 college home runs combined. 7. And then he gets to the Twins minor league system, and he was hitting more home runs than Austin Martin because he had 9 and then 8 and then he had 7 one year. But now, like with the Giants, he hit 18 home runs in 2021. He's got 11 home runs this year. He's never going to be a 30 home run hitter.
Power can come.
He's 29. It came when he was like 27, basically.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
So and Austin Martin's 24 years old, and you're right, Dex. He does get on base a ton, but I don't know, man. I just don't know. You have to be able to hit a ball over an outfielder's head to play in the major leagues on a regular basis. So I guess we'll see if it develops.
And then last thing, the Dobber, Randy Dobnak, was on the mound for the Twins. Somehow threw like 31 pitches in the first inning and didn't allow a run to come across. I think the bases, actually, let me look at my book here. The bases were at first and second. He got a couple hard lineouts, but 86 pitches, 53 strikes, like only went 4 innings of work, walked 3 guys. It's one thing that he did start the Uber driver playoff game, and that was unfortunate, and that's not his fault. But I can't believe that this guy got a contract extension. Like, there's nothing about his stuff that is spectacular. He lives right in the middle of the zone, so people are going to foul off a ton of pitches. It's pretty remarkable that they gave him another deal.
6 years.
Deal.
6 years from now, what a great random twin pull, though.
Oh yeah.
He'll be a great random twin.
We need him to go to like the A's though, so we can use him for random twin of the week or Immaculate Grid.
Immaculate Grid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, he should bounce around. That's a very good point. Like why are the Twins holding him here when he could go be a slappy like at the back end of the A's rotation? Just think of any sort of crappy team. Kansas. Well, wait, he seems like a Royal.
But he's not on the 40-man, right? So right? I don't think he's on their 40-man.
No, I think
roster.
they took him off the 40-man.
So they DFA'd him.
Been taken off the 40-man.
Okay, they DFA'd him like last year, whenever it was. So every other team had a chance to claim him.
Yeah,
and I think he cleared waivers and accepted the assignment in the Twin system. So I root for the guy. Whatever, it's not his. If somebody offers you a contract, you're going to say yes. His life changed a little bit. It's not a $50 million contract, but he makes more money than. Hopefully, he buys lunch for his minor league teammates once in a while. That's what I would say.
When Falvey and this regime eventually walk out the door, though, starting him at Yankee Stadium will be among the top 3 stupidest things that they ever did.
Yeah, it was not ideal. It was not ideal.
Huge first guess on all of our parts. You held Jake Odorizzi for game 3 because we want him to start at home. What are you talking about?
No, go get game 2 and worry about game 3.
I'm all worked up again. Damn, this team.
All right, deep breath. Immaculate Grid coming up here, presented by our friends at Burger Press in Edina, owned and operated by homegrown Minnesota sports fans. Multiple people sending in their photos. This is, by the way, footage of us plowing an amazing lunch a couple weeks ago at Burger Press. But we've seen a bunch of you send in photos of the lunch outings and dinner outings that you've had at Burger Press. So this is not a chain. This is an individual owned and operated restaurant by Minnesota sports fans who are also Score North fans. Burgers are delicious. The Nathan's hot dogs, the wings, the crispy chicken sandwiches, the crinkle cut fries, the milkshakes. Talk dirty.
Yeah.
Burger Press in Edina off 494 and France Avenue. All right, boys. It's time for the Immaculate Grid. We're looking for a 9-for-9 performance here to be immaculate. There are 9 squares on the board here. So we're looking for a Ranger who was once a Philly, a Ranger who was once a Mariner, and a Ranger who hit 40 jacks in a season, an Oriole who was a Philly, an Oriole who was a Mariner, and an Oriole with 40 jacks, and then a Rocky who was a Philly, a Rocky who was a Mariner, and a Rocky who hit 40 jacks.
Nice.
5 minutes on the clock. We must go 9-for-9. And go.
Should we knock off the 40-plus home runs?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Juan Gonzalez, right?
Yeah.
Then Brady Anderson for the O's is my favorite.
Yep. And let's forget about the rarity score. Let's just get back on track today, boys. Unless we're really sure.
And then Colorado, take your pick.
It could go Bichette, Galarraga.
Yeah.
We could go Larry Walker.
Pick. Yep.
Let's go Bichette, Dante Bichette.
Former Brewer too. Yep.
Wait, he hit 40, right?
Yeah, you guys sure about that? I wouldn't know.
Galarraga hit 40, right? Let's do Galarraga.
Yes.
Okay.
if you're shooting for yes,
I spelled
big
Galarraga.
Gala.
There we go.
There you
Armando,
go.
right?
Armando.
No.
Whoa! You said Armando. I didn't click it yet.
Andres,
but you
sorry,
said...
Andres. Sorry.
Andres Galarraga, big cat.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
Oh my
I'm sorry.
God!
Sorry.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Still
Who's
get my
Armando
heart medication.
Galarraga?
I don't know, but I know that one too.
Oh my God! Cliff Lee
Sorry.
applies to both of these teams,
yes,
whichever
they do.
one you want to pick. Cliff
think
Lee.
it's-
Okay, hold on. Well, is there? I think
Is
did
there more
Oswalt
obvious?
pitch for the Rangers and the Phillies?
Yes.
Yes. So yep. Do
Let's
Cliff
go
Lee on
Oswalt
Seattle.
there.
Then Cliff Lee.
2%, dude.
Oh, nice.
Cliff
Without
Lee.
even trying.
7.
That's nice.
Okay.
Oh,
We
Phil.
have, wow. 3.5 minutes to go here.
Eric Bedard.
Yep, for sure. Mariners.
Okay.
That's a great one. That'll be
Oh, wow. 12.
12%. We're doing pretty well actually here.
That's not bad.
Birds
Okay.
and Phillies.
All right.
Uh,
Did Matt Wieters go to Philly or did he go to Washington? I think he went to Washington.
He went
to Washington. I don't think he played for the Phillies. I don't think he played. I'm trying to think back to the 80s or 90s of a Philly that went to the Birds.
I'm thinking on some of the other ones here too.
Okay.
Mariner, Rocky. The Rockies are so hard. They're so random and they're relatively new historically. You know, you don't get to go back too far.
Exactly.
Houston Street didn't go to Seattle. Houston Street played for Oakland, Colorado.
But did Houston Street pitch for Colorado and Philly?
Brad Lidge?
Lidge was Phillies. Was he
Was he
Rockies?
Colorado?
I don't know if he was Rockies.
Hold on, I'm gonna give this some
Houston. He was in Houston. I think he was in Houston too. Fudge.
We're still good. We got over 2 minutes left here.
Baltimore the Phillies.
Mariner, Rocky.
Philly.
Eric Young play for the Mariners? I don't think so.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Baltimore. God.
You gotta find like random ass relievers or something. Phillies Orioles should go way back. Like there's gotta be.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of.
Wow.
90s.
Rockies. The Rockies, dude.
Margo. Too low.
Did Dave Hollins play for the Rockies?
No, he played for. He was San Diego, Philadelphia, Minnesota.
Oh, dang it. Ubaldo pitched for the
Seattle?
Rockies and the Birds, but that's not one.
Okay, this is way too. We're struggling here. Phillies and Baltimore.
Did Darren O'Day pitch for the Phillies?
Ooh. That sounds right. For Birds and Phillies? Or are you thinking of Rockies and Phillies?
No, for Birds and Phillies.
That sounds right.
We only have a minute left, so we're kind of in panic mode now too.
Damn it!
I don't know, man. I guess we can try it. Darren O'Day.
Dang it!
Yeah, I mean we're
We're
screwed,
spinning our
man.
wheels. What happened here?
Well,
I felt
they
myself,
gave us
too. I'm not-
they gave us the Rockies. Like no one knows. Can you even name like 10 Rockies players ever? It's ridiculous.
Okay, but there was
the
an
Rockies.
But there was an expansion draft at one time, to which they could stock their roster from these teams. And why can't I remember? Like,
Yeah,
there had to be-
because you're trying to think of the 1993 Rockies, which no one knows.
Well, just because I was drunk for most of the year, that doesn't mean I can't figure it out.
It's not your
Matt-
fault. It's the Rockies.
I mean, I went to Joe Sensors and watched that expansion draft on TV.
I think this was a Juan Pierre Rocky Philly.
Okay,
That's
let's
fine.
try it.
Did-
Kinda- he
we have
works.
10 seconds left.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice job. Can we get one more here? And
Should we try Edwin? Should we try our Edwin for one of these?
Yeah, let's rock it. Edwin Jackson.
It's a lifestyle.
Oh,
No,
didn't work
no
that
go.
time.
All right.
Damn, wow.
All right,
man, we were on a roll there.
All right, we
too.
got to
Just
come back
cheating.
tomorrow,
Oh,
and we
Jamie
got
Moyer.
Kyle Gibson.
Kyle Gibson.
Oh my
dang
God!
it.
Jamie
oh my God!
Moyer
How many
pitched for the
people?
Rockies?
Ah.
Oh my God! How many
Wait.
people are yelling at us?
Brad Hands, a Minnesotan. Oh.
Dude,
that
hold
was
on. Jamie, who knew that Jamie Moyer pitched for the Rockies? And
I
boys,
totally forgot.
that's the most likely one. It means that no one's getting it.
I totally forgot.
What was the 35%, dude? Yeah, come on. That's a trap.
Okay,
Yeah,
Kyle
look-
Gibson is an atrocious miss.
Only 35% of people got that.
People were yelling, Kyle. I guarantee you they were yelling. That's an embarrassment.
That one's
I mean,
bad.
I will raise my hand.
God,
I'm
Hottie.
embarrassed for myself. That was
God,
awful.
Hottie.
We weren't prepared. It was like
I
the
think
Twins
we were,
in Detroit.
We were prepared. We just failed.
I don't think I
We
was prepared.
just failed, man.
I don't think I was prepared. I wasn't
Well-
mentally in the right place. And you know what?
Mm.
When they do the Netflix documentary on my career, this is going to be a low point.
This is gonna be the
This is going to be a
the
low
bottom
point.
right here.
They're going
Well, we're gonna dust ourselves off, regroup, probably hit you with another one tomorrow here, unless Declan decides to wake up and do it rogue without telling
No, I
his
don't think
two
so.
co-hosts. Okay.
It depends. I'll let you know.
Oh, and there are
the
requests for
Timberwolves
Judd's
are
hockey
on the-
show.
You should. And the Wolves are on the basketball one today, so check that one out.
Okay.
All right. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us here on the Score North Twin Show, where we just want the Twins to win a playoff game for the first time in almost 2 decades.